Newport Beach, California, a name that conjures images of sun-drenched beaches, yachts in the harbor, and the iconic Balboa Peninsula. But long before the hotels and the tourists arrived, this coast was defined by one thing above all else: the fish.
For more than a century, fishing has been woven into the very fabric of this community. These early photographs capture a Newport Beach that was still largely undeveloped, fishing boats resting on the sand, wooden boardwalks stretching toward the water, and the line between land and sea marked by simple structures and the daily rhythm of work.
Our story begins in 1888, when two brothers, James and Robert McFadden, built a massive wooden wharf at what is now the foot of the Newport Pier. It stretched 1,320 feet out into the Pacific, connected by a narrow-gauge railroad all the way to Santa Ana. This was not a recreational pier. It was a working wharf, a shipping terminal for lumber, cattle hides, and other goods by steamship.
By 1891, a small fishing cooperative had set up at the base of the wharf, what would become the Dory Fleet Fish Market, the last remaining beachside fishing cooperative in the United States. Fishermen launched their dories at dawn and returned with the catch, selling it fresh to the local community. This photograph from the California Historical Society collection shows Newport Beach from the era of the wharf, a place in transition between its working-class past and its resort town future.
In 1902, the federal government dredged Newport Harbor, opening it to larger ships. San Pedro became the dominant shipping port for Southern California, and the McFadden brothers sold their wharf and surrounding land to a developer named William S. Collins. He saw something the McFaddens never did: the potential for tourism. The narrow-gauge railroad that once carried lumber now carried beachgoers from inland cities who had never seen the ocean before.
By the 1920s, Newport Beach had become a bustling beach resort town. These photographs from around 1910 show early automobiles parked along the pier, a vivid sign of the changing times. The automobile was beginning to transform coastal recreation, making places like Newport Beach accessible to people from inland cities. And yet, for all the development, the fishing remained central. Surf perch, corbina, yellowfin croaker, halibut, mackerel, and bonito were the staples of pier fishing here.
These photographs from around 1910 show fishing boats alongside early automobiles at Newport Beach, a scene where the old ways and the new coexisted. Small fishing boats rest on the sand with cars parked nearby. It is a scene that would be unrecognizable just a few decades later, when the automobile transformed coastal recreation forever. The commercial fishing industry had moved on, but sport fishing was just entering its golden age.
The 1920s through the 1940s are often called the golden age of pier fishing in Southern California. And nowhere was this more true than at Newport and Balboa. The newspapers of the time are filled with remarkable stories of catches that seem almost impossible today: fish stacked on the beach like cordwood, and anglers catching their weight in yellowtail on a daily basis.
In May of 1927, a fisherman named Harry Campbell landed a halibut weighing 45.75 pounds from the Balboa Pier, the largest halibut ever caught with light tackle from a Pacific Coast pier. The Santa Ana Register called it a sensation. Giant black sea bass, or jewfish, as they were called then, were caught with alarming regularity from both piers.
In May of 1930, a live bait operator named Carl Sandino landed a giant sea bass weighing 452 pounds from the Balboa Pier, the biggest fish of any kind ever caught off that pier. The head alone weighed 70 pounds. These fish are fully protected today, but in that era they were the prize of every pier angler, and the newspapers chronicled each record-breaking catch.
Yellowtail runs were so intense they made the news regularly. In September of 1896, a fisherman named J.M. Sayre reported that the fishing at Newport Wharf excelled anything he had ever seen. The big yellowtail kept the water in a boil, chasing mackerel right up to the edge of the sand. His wife caught 3 15-pound yellowtail in just a few minutes. Fish were stacked on the beach like cordwood.
In October of 1908, more than 60 yellowtail were caught from the Southern Pacific Wharf at Newport in a single day. By November, fishermen were catching yellowtails weighing as high as 32 pounds off the wharf on a daily basis. The Santa Ana Register reported that many more were hooked but escaped. These were the staples of pier fishing at Newport: surf perch, corbina, yellowfin croaker, halibut, mackerel, and bonito.
These photographs from around 1910 show fishing boats alongside early automobiles at Newport Beach, a vivid snapshot of a place where the old ways and the new coexisted. Small fishing boats rest on the sand, with cars parked nearby. It is a scene unrecognizable just decades later, when the automobile transformed coastal recreation and made places like Newport Beach accessible to visitors from all over Southern California.
But the Newport Pier's history is also a story of destruction and renewal. The original wooden wharf was always vulnerable to storms. Through the 1920s and 1930s, it suffered repeated damage from winter storms and heavy surf. Then in 1939, a powerful tropical storm, the same storm that devastated much of the Southern California coast, destroyed the old wharf entirely. What remained of McFadden Wharf, standing since 1888, was washed away.
What rose from the wreckage was not a wharf, but a true pier, a 1,032-foot recreational structure that opened in 1940 and stands to this day as the Newport Pier we know today. Built of concrete and steel, it was designed to withstand the storms that had destroyed its predecessor. This is the pier that fishermen still walk today, casting their lines into the Pacific and watching the sunset.
At the foot of the Newport Pier, in what is now called McFadden Square, stands the Dory Fleet Fish Market. Founded in 1891, it is the last remaining beachside fishing cooperative in the United States, a living link to the era when fishermen launched their dories from the sand and sold their catch directly to the public. Every morning, the Dory Fleet fishermen still set out at dawn, returning early with fresh catch.
They bring in rock crab, spider crab, octopus, lobster, spot prawns, and seasonal delicacies depending on the time of year. The doors open and close quickly. By noon the market is done for the day. The Newport Beach Historical Society has recognized the Dory Fleet as a permanent local historical landmark since 1969, and in 2025 Spectrum News featured the market and the family traditions that sustain it.
Just a few miles down the Balboa Peninsula, the Balboa Pier stretches 920 feet into the Pacific. Built in 1906 as a sister project to the Balboa Pavilion, it was designed to attract lot buyers to the undeveloped sandy peninsula. The Pacific Electric Railway brought multitudes of beachgoers to Balboa, and many purchased lots. Today, both piers remain iconic landmarks of Newport Beach. Fishermen still cast their lines, families still stroll the boardwalk at sunset, and the Dory Fleet continues to send its boats out each dawn, just as it has for more than 130 years. From the wooden wharves of the 1880s to the modern Newport Pier, the story of fishing here is a story of resilience, tradition, and the enduring connection between the people of this coast and the Pacific Ocean. Thank you for watching.
Just a few miles down the Balboa Peninsula, the Balboa Pier stretches 920 feet into the Pacific. Built in 1906 as a sister project to the Balboa Pavilion, it was designed to attract lot buyers to the undeveloped sandy peninsula. The Pacific Electric Railway brought multitudes of beachgoers to Balboa, and many purchased lots. Today, both piers remain iconic landmarks of Newport Beach. Fishermen still cast their lines, families still stroll the boardwalk at sunset, and the Dory Fleet continues to send its boats out each dawn, just as it has for more than 130 years. From the wooden wharves of the 1880s to the modern Newport Pier, the story of fishing here is a story of resilience, tradition, and the enduring connection between the people of this coast and the Pacific Ocean. Thank you for watching.